do I hit this? Okay. Now I just gotta see something. Welcome, welcome. Hey, hey, welcome in. Let me make sure I have all my chats open because then I don't see what you guys say. So I'm gonna put this in a way that I can see while I'm working here. So I wanted to jump on here real quick because I didn't jump on Monday. I was super busy and I still wanted to get on here and just show some love, make sure I sprinkle some positivity this way. I've been so tired. I'm tired. For those who don't know, my son had a surgery on Thursday, last week Thursday, and that kind of threw me off a little bit from like just like my not that I get regular sleep anyway. What mom gets regular sleep? What parent gets regular sleep? You know what I'm saying? Like that's just not something that always happens, Not like a flex or anything. It's just literally the story of a parent's life. We don't get a whole lot of rest. But anyway, I digress. So I've been so tired. So tired. I actually took a nap. I think the day I was supposed to do my live, I was like, I'm taking a nap. And then I had an appointment. So we moving and grooving. We still gonna pop up, do what we gotta do. So I'm actually gonna share with you guys. I was super excited to finish my fellowship. So I've been in a fellowship for about a month or so in my in a different niche for coaching. And y'all know I do the trauma informed mindset confidence coaching in the bariatric, not specifically bariatric space, but it primarily bariatric people, because that's just the space that I find myself in. So anyway, I finished a fellowship to do coaching for youth. So youth coaching is also in my spirit to do. And I'm really excited that I was able to have that opportunity to do some youth coaching and to kind of just develop that skill. For those who don't know, I have an interesting background, right? Like I don't always share my story, and I think that that's going to be part of my intention moving forward is to just be more transparent about who I am, who I'm becoming is like what y'all see, but who I am, who I not who I am, but what I've come from, so that the me right now makes more sense, right? So a lot of times when you only see the end product, when you see the outcome, it's like, oh no, she's just like this positive person who's always like uplifting people. Like that wasn't always my priority, right? Like I had a life where I was I was not operating at the highest frequency all the time, and I had to learn to I had to learn to do that, right? Like none of us are born knowing everything. Like I had to learn to learn me. I had to learn me. Ooh, I'm gonna write that one down. I had to learn me. I didn't take the time to learn me all the way. And so because I didn't learn me in the moments, I was picking up whatever I was interacting with, right? Like I was allowing people in my space and in my orbit who just really didn't deserve to be there, right? I've always been very like open to all types of friendships. I've never limited myself in terms of friendships. Like I have friends of all backgrounds, all belief systems, opposing belief systems, and I embrace differences. And I'm not saying don't embrace differences, but what I'm saying is being selective about the energy that kind of occupies your time and space. And I think that's important. We don't always think about that because it's not something that comes up, right? Like it only, friendships are only an issue when they become an issue. When we're first getting to meet people, we're getting like the best version of people. And then over time, people start showing you like, hey, this is me. Yeah, this is the great version of me, but here's the flawed version of me. Do you want me to still be in your orbit? And a lot of times, yeah, we can move past certain shit, but then there's other times where it's like, you do is it time to like start weeding out some stuff? Like, do I need to like reconsider these connections? Like, what the hell? What the helly? So yeah, no, and that's kind of what that's kind of how I was growing up. I would like share everything with my friends. I would like who I would consider friends back then. When you're younger, sometimes you think everybody's your friend, and then you realize, like, oh no, not everybody is around you because they like you. Some people are just around you because you're around. Hi, Sandra, welcome in. I haven't seen you in a minute, friend. Oh my God. Some people, it was like learning, right? Like, I had to learn discernment. I had to learn that not everybody that came around me at the time growing up was actually a friend. Some people were just around because you was a vibe. Some people was around because you had something they wanted. Some people was around because they ain't have nothing else to do. And that still holds true in adulthood. I think a lot of times we think like, oh my God, like this person's so nice, this person's so this, the person's so that. But like sometimes people be having their own. Oh, you can't hear me? Let me see. Hold on. So this whole time I'm talking. Can you hear me, Sandra? I'm sorry. I've been talking and I'm realizing now that some folks are saying they can't hear me. Let me how do I fix that? Let's see if we can fix it. Oh, you can hear me. Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, so some people can hear me and some cannot. I'm so sorry if you can't hear me. Okay, perfect. I was getting worried because I'm like, I set this microphone up. Just the reason why I'm doing it on Riverside, because you guys are probably like, hey, can I request? I'm not on any of the one apps. Like, I'm using an app that distributes the stream to TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So I'm not actually able to bring people up on panel like I used to. Hey, Guy, welcome in. Welcome in. Hi, Jamie. Thank you for letting me know you can hear me. So, I'm just sharing my story a little bit because I'm realizing that you guys know me like at a very surface level, right? And part of my healing is removing some of the shame tied to the things that I experienced or the things that I've done in my past that, really led me up to this point, right? Because while I wasn't 100% proud of everything that I've done in my life, I also understand that that was part of my growth, that was part of my development. And, I'm not there anymore. But in order for me to not be there anymore, I had to walk the path. I had to walk through those things. I had to go through those things. I had to make those mistakes. I had to fall on my face several times, right? And I'm still, even in my 37 years of life, I'm still falling on my face sometimes. And what I'm learning is that I have to own it. I have to own the times that I fudge up, and I have to sit with that and have to really dissect, like, what is there in this situation that I have not learned yet? What can I get out of this situation? There's no situation that you experience in your life that you cannot get something out of. There's that's just not true. Even in the worst, most devastating situations, you learn something. I think I shared a little bit about when I found myself homeless. I also I'll go back a little further. My mom, she is a doctor in her country, and when she came to the United States, after marrying my dad, she came. I'm a first generation American, right? Um, Thank you, Jamie. Yeah, no, I was definitely a lot of it. I realized, one, I wasn't set up to have all of the tools to make the best decisions, but also, that's just growing pains, right? We go through growing pains, and that's just part of the process, right? So in my younger years, I made a lot of mistakes, and to the point that I was trying to make. And the reason I said the things about friendships was because did not have that. Good morning, Charis. I didn't have that connection at the time with my mom. Love her. I love her to death. But at the time, the teenager, we're not really communicating. Anybody knows that when you're a teenager, the last person, and maybe this is not true for everyone because some people have better relationships with their parents than others, but not everyone wants to like talk to their parent. What's up, Jess? So not everyone wanted to talk to their parent. Not everyone had like that best friend parent relationship that I now have with my teenage daughter. But so I heavily leaned on friends. I leaned on people who I thought had my best interest at heart, really not understanding that they are also two young people trying to figure out life. So I do think that a lot of that stemmed from me trying to get world advice and life advice from kids, other kids, and then not that shouldn't work. That didn't work. I found myself in a lot of trouble. Right. I would be the blind leading the blind. Absolutely, the blind leading the blind. I was in so much trouble growing up. I used to get into fights. I remember I got into fights because of my mouth. I just didn't know when to just zip it, right? Because I had to have the last word. That was just part of my personality because I was like always very outspoken, very like rah in your face, and I wish a mother would type of energy. Because I was trying to get ahead of anybody trying to bring me down. So I created this like persona of like, like I'm the big bad wolf. I wasn't a bully, never was a bully. That I will say, never a bully, but I was always ready for the bullies. And and that came from not always being the tough girl, right? Like in even younger years, I was bullied a lot. I went to a predominantly PLC school. So there were black kids, Hispanic kids, and kids from other ethnic backgrounds. And so a lot of times I didn't fall within any category because I was technically a black girl, but I was also Latina, right? So, because by definition, I'm a black woman, but I also am the child of two Latino parents. So, I didn't quite fit into the I love you too, friend, and I miss you. And I just said that when I saw your pictures in Mexico. Um, I didn't fit into any mold. Like the a lot of times the Spanish kids were like, "You're not Hispanic. You're a black," and I'm just like, "Yeah, I can be both." And they didn't understand that that wasn't a conversation that was had back then. So I was very much like outcasted from like the Spanish groups in my school. But then I very much was embraced in the black community, and I just felt this guilt. I didn't want to speak Spanish because it was like, then they're going to think I'm not black. And then, um, so I would suppress that part of myself, right? That came with just wanting to fit in somewhere, right? So I was like, I don't fit in with the Spanish kid, but I don't want to start talking about my background when most of my friends are African American. And I'm like, I don't know where to go. Like, and, I've even had, I grew up in a space where it was like, well, what are you? Like, are you black? Are you black and white? Are you like, no one ever really knew, like, at the time what Dominicans were. And I was just like, I'm Dominican. Like, so they're like, what is that? Like, is that like Mexican? I was like, it's Latin America, yes, but it's not the same. So it was a lot of explanations. So I just kind of created my own space and just started welcoming a bunch of people because I hated the feeling of feeling left out. I hated the feeling of not knowing where I kind of fit in. And so I was like, you know what? I'm tired of trying to fit in somewhere. I'm just going to create space and open that space to just any and everybody, which in theory sound really nice, really sweet. But what happened with that was I opened myself up for literally just any and everybody to be in my space. And that was not, in hindsight, a good idea. My mom used to joke around and not joke around. She was dead serious. She'd like, you just pick up strays. You just pick up strays. You pick up anybody. But that was me. I was just like, I feel like everyone deserves a space. I feel like everyone deserves to be seen, no matter what they look like, where they're from, what their belief systems are. I just want people to coexist because we're more alike than we are different. And that's what I was trying to convey when I started like removing this idea that I needed to fit in with a particular group of people. Once I removed that, it was like I started to find myself because I was like, I see me in that special needs child. I see me in this child who is a first generation American. I see me in, a lot of different people, right? And that was the beauty of having the ability to create space. So I've realized that has been like the theme of my life is just to create spaces for all different types of people to come together. And I didn't realize that that stemmed from not fitting in anywhere. And when I didn't fit in anywhere, I was like, I'm just going to create a space where we all don't need to fit in. We just need to exist and be willing to learn from each other. And that has been such a blessing in disguise, but also a life lesson because, like I said to you guys, I went through a time frame where I had so many friends, what I would call friends at the time, and people that I was like, I didn't understand why would talk about me. Like I didn't realize that when you're a certain kind of way, right? Like at the time I was very much like sticking up for the underdog. I was the positive mindset. Like realistically, like that's been me for a while. And like I know this and I know that because I have this urge for like knowledge. So I would know a lot of things and that would bother people too. And I'm like, damn, why does that bother you that I that I'm like picking up all this stuff, that I'm opening myself up to new experiences that would bother people. So then they talk behind my back. And I always had a forgiving way too. Like when people would do certain things, I would try to find it in my heart to be forgiving. And then I'd find myself in the same situation all over again because there's a way to be forgiving without putting yourself in the line of fire again. So I could love people from a distance. I can forgive people. But one of the lessons that I learned from my past, love people, you can be cool with people, but once you get burnt and somebody really, really hurts you or went out their way to put you down, it's okay to say, you know what? I forgive you because I'm not going to carry this, this negative feeling in my heart. I'm not going to carry this negative energy, but I'm not going to allow you in my space anymore. Hi Johnny, welcome in, welcome in. Hey Michelle. So I'm using Riverside. So if anyone is requesting to come up, it's not going to let me bring you guys up because Riverside is not technically like how the typical thing is set up where I can bring you on panel. You'd have to join me through like a link outside of the platform. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta forgive and move on, and that has been my energy, and it's been so helpful. But that wasn't always me, and I say that to say this. I'm very grateful for the development that has happened with me, and I know that I'm still a work in progress. By no means do I have it all figured out, but I can say I'm seeing my maturity. I can say that I see now that it's okay to have that balance of like, hey, I don't rock with you. I respect what you got going on, but I can't have you in my orbit. Like it just no longer aligns with me. And that respect for yourself is so important. I think a lot of times I think we forget that we're important too. How we feel is important too. If something doesn't feel good to your spirit, it's okay to remove yourself from that situation because a lot of times those things won't remove themselves. So sometimes you got to be the person to take the initiative and be like, you know what? This is not for me. This is not for me. I don't hate you. Kudo, good for you. I'm glad things are happening for you. I'm happy for you, but like I don't like how this makes me feel. So that is something I'm very proud of. And that was not always something I was able to do. So now fast forward 2025, I was thinking about it when I did this, as I mentioned earlier, I went through this fellowship to develop my coaching ability. So when I coach, I typically coach adults, right? So I said, God, what can I do that will make me feel like I'm doing something, rewarding, something that would allow me to give back. So I got into this fellowship program to develop my skills as a coach working with youth because I needed that. Around the time when I was in my high school years, that definitely growth, and you deserve people who are truly genuine in your space. You always have been a light and love. Girl, don't make me cry up in here. Thank you. And oh my God. I I'm very appreciative to where I'm at today. And damn, I didn't think I was gonna get emotional today, but thank you. Um, this is not an overnight thing. Like a lot of people see me and they're like, "Oh, you're always so positive." Like I've had to fight my own demons. Like I battle with depression, I battle with anxiety, I battle with an undiagnosed ADHD. like and so when I show up, it's a very, very difficult task because I have to fight myself. I have to fight, the idea of like limiting beliefs, so there's a lot of things that I have to kind of get past to continue to show up. So I'm proud of myself because like I've been making something out of nothing. And I know that I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm not where I used to be. And that to me is a flex. That is a big win for me. Um, I just want to continue to make every space that I find myself in better than I left it. That is always the goal, is to continue to bring light wherever I find myself, is to continue to, help other people see the light within themselves. So many of us have layers of things that have happened to us, layers of trauma. Thank you, Linda. I appreciate you, friend. So much stuff that just like compiles over time that we forget like who we are, that what we bring, what's within us. Like, man, sometimes, have y'all heard that saying, God gives us what is it? God gives us battles with his strongest soldiers or something like that. I can't remember the exact saying. Y'all know which one I'm talking about, right? And I'm just like, God, I'm tired of being the strongest soldier. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. But I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not. Because like I'm so serious. Like I literally sometimes I have moments. Thank you. You can show up despite all you're going through. Show how much a person you are. Thank you so much. And man, at one point I was like, I feel like my world is falling apart. And I was like, girl, just hold on. Don't you dare give up. Like you woke up this morning and someone did not. You woke up this morning and someone wish they can have your situation. And so I feel like I don't take anything for granted, even the difficult times. When when I say when I say God is good, and I say that now and I remove all shame, because at some point I even had shame in saying that. I would be like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to, like I had my moments. I had to reintroduce myself to God. I'm like, hey God, I'm still here. Like, just like, no, I know you've been around, but uh, sometimes I get in my little head and start the walking away. But now I'm back. I'm back, and so I'm so grateful, because I couldn't. There were if I told y'all, if I sat here and told y'all every single story of my life, you'd be like, how the hell are you still here? Don't know. Don't know, but I'm not going to question why God still has me here, because clearly there's something I'm supposed to be doing. And maybe this conversation is it. Maybe there's something else down the line that I'm supposed to be doing. But I just want to remind you guys, no matter how hard it gets, please hold on. No matter how difficult situations may seem, don't give up. Bury your heels into that ground, because baby, you are still here. And while you are still here, there's still possibilities for any and everything to happen. Your life can shift in a matter of an hour. What I'm the conversation I'm having with you today, tomorrow my situation could be different, but I want us to stay encouraged. I want to just remind, because I know how lonely it could be when you sit with your feelings and, hey bro, what's up, Jason. I know how hard it could be when you sit with your feelings by yourself, and it feels heavy and it feels lonely and it feels like the world's falling apart. And everybody, while social media is great, on social media, sometimes people don't see the devastation that you go through, the internal turmoil you may be experiencing. So I want you to know that I see you, friend. I know that it's hard. I know that sometimes life seems like, what is the point? Sometimes it seems like life is just dumping on you. But let me tell you, life is developing you. When you get dumped on by life, you are being planted, right? You just have to nurture yourself. You are the seed. You are the seed, right? So when shit is falling on you, you're being fertilized, right? You got to keep watering yourself, friend. Keep pouring positive things. Counteract that negativity with positive stuff. Start pouring into yourself. Be more intentional about loving on yourself, right? Life isn't happening to you, it's just happening. And I also have this notion that life is happening for you, even the negatives. When I lost my mother-in-law, and a lot of people didn't realize, like, that was devastating for me. Like, I know some people, like, probably were hoping their mother-in-law perished, but like, I actually had a really good relationship with my mother-in-law, and it made me really think about life, like, in the midst of experiencing that loss. I said, oh my God, here's this woman who opened her doors for everybody and she was a person who never turned anyone away, you know? Um, she would create spaces for everyone to feel welcome. So I identified with that, right? Because that's my energy. I never want anyone to feel left out. I never want anyone to feel like they don't have a home or a space. She took me into her place. I ended up sleeping on her living room floor on an air mattress. And even when times got hard, like, she never turned me away. She could be going through her own stuff, but she would welcome me in. So when she passed away, a part of me was like, wow, if people only knew how amazing this woman was, all the way in Brownsville, Brooklyn. Like, people don't know who Dina is, but I'm gonna make sure they know, because whoo, sorry, it's the people who don't even, how many people, right, have poured into our lives and they have no idea. If someone has poured into your life in any way, shape, or form while they are still on this God's green earth, please tell them thank you. Please tell them that you appreciate them. Have that attitude of gratitude, because I think that life is very fragile. We see all the things happening in the world. We see what just happened here in Texas, where I'm not in the area where the flooding occurred, but just in the state. It's a heavy feeling to see all the life loss. Um, everything we're seeing with immigration. Like, I won't get political, but just like everything, it's just like the world is going to shit right now, and I'm just like, how do you stay positive in the midst of all that, right? And so I just want to remind you that if you have people in your life who you love and people who you care about, please tell them. Don't wait. Don't assume they know. Tell them you love them. Tell them that you appreciate them because you don't know how long you have people for, right? We take life for granted so much. And I don't want us to be casual about life because that's how you end up a casualty. And I, I'm so appreciative to her, my mother-in-law, for opening her doors for me. It's so much I wish I could tell my parents how much I appreciate everything they sacrificed for me, but I can't. Still tell them. Still write that letter. Still write that letter. I truly believe there is power to putting pen to paper. The letter that they're not here to receive, putting that pen to paper, energy is everything. I feel like people, and maybe some folks might find this controversial, but like I still talk to my grandparents who passed several years ago. My grandparents raised me, right? My mom had to work. My dad was incarcerated for pretty much my entire teenage, adolescent, childhood, right? My dad was in jail and my mom was a single parent. And my mom had relationships after that that were not healthy relationships. So I really leaned on my grandparents quite heavily. And so while they're not here, I'm always telling them, thank you. Thank you for seeing more than what people thought I was at the time. Thank you for seeing more in me than I even saw myself. My grandparents, man, when I tell you, my grandfather had to pick me up from the police precinct. My grandmother had to. She was the first person I told when I got pregnant. When I got pregnant with my first child, I was 19, and I was just like already considered the black sheep of the family. So knowing that now I'm having a child out of wedlock and I have to tell my mother and I hadn't told her anything. Yes, I'm an adult at this point, but still I'm living under her roof. So technically it's like you ain't an adult. Um, it was like she was the first person I called. I remember it was super dramatic, guys. It's funny. And I know I'm kind of all over the place, but I'm just sharing the stuff as they come to me. But like I remember calling my grandmother because my mom wanted me to lift up a bed frame, and I told her no. And she's like, "What are you, pregnant or something?" I ran out into the freaking rain because it was raining, and just like ran to my car, my little hoopty, and I called my grandmother, and I was like, "Mima, your daughter, she's telling me to lift up a bed frame, and I can't." And she's like, "Why? Why can't you lift up this bed frame?" And I was like, "Cause I'm pregnant." She's like, "Okay, okay." But she was so chill about it that I was like, "Okay, she's not freaking out. I'm freaking out. Let me calm down." And she's like, "You're not the first or the last person that's ever gonna get pregnant at 19." And I was like, "Okay." She literally put me at ease instantly. She's like, "I'm gonna talk to your mother." Yeah, speak it aloud. Speak it aloud. I truly believe the energy still exists. I believe my grandparents could still hear me till this day when I'm like, thank you. And sometimes I even see repeating numbers and I'm like, I know some folks are like, that's woo woo stuff. Listen, let it be. If it brings me comfort, it just brings me comfort. Sometimes I'm thinking about my grandmother and I'll see 1111 or 111 or just like the synchronicities. And so I do believe that we do still get messages from the people we loved who are no longer with us. So in the same way they send us messages, we could send them messages back. I feel like that energy exchange is limitless. So I definitely believe that if you have something on your spirit, even if those people are no longer here, write that heavenly letter, write it down, read it aloud, say your thank yous. Having an attitude of gratitude, even with people who are no longer with us, is still important, right? I shared with you guys another person who poured into my life. This woman, she's no longer with us either. And she was someone who passed very early on. She passed in her 30s. Maybe not even her. Yeah, I think she just entered her 30s and she passed. And she didn't even know like the effect and impact she had on my life. I'm forever eternally grateful for Anaya, is her name. Um, we call her Tiffany. And so she was my manager at T-Mobile. I used to sell cell phones. Ugh, can y'all imagine me in that magenta pink or whatever color shirt it was with the T-Mobile? Oh my God, y'all! I worked at T-Mobile. I was a sales rep, and it was so funny because I sucked at sales, right? Until I got into her store because I came from another store. And I came into that store around the same time I got pregnant. My mom kicked me out the house. I ended up moving to Brooklyn, and I ended up I was working at a T-Mobile near my mother's house. And then I was like, I need something closer because I don't have a reliable vehicle. So her store was a high performing store. And so I wasn't a high performing sales rep, but she still took me. She was like, bring her. She's like, you can come on. And she brought me on and really developed me. And not only that, this is when I knew she was special, right? Because she didn't just limit herself to training me on the job, right? Because that was her only job, was to train me on the job. She took me outside of the job to show me a new world, to show me that, oh, people do self development. What the hell is that? She showed me that, oh, you need to be intentional about, the messaging that you expose yourself to. You need to be intentional about the books you read, the people in proximity to you. She developed me in ways that till this day I'm so grateful for, because I passed that message along, right? And I still do a lot of the things that, she introduced me to. And I'm grateful for that, because those are the things that have kept me alive. Like, she doesn't even know the days that I've hit rock freaking bottom. I remember her saying, like, you got to listen to some motivational audio, girl. And maybe her delivery wasn't always great, but I understood it came from the heart now, right? At the time, I was like, why is she bullying me? Why does she want me to do all this stuff? Like, what she's seeing, want me to be like all this great sales rep. Like, I didn't even believe in myself at the time, but she saw something in me before I saw it in me. And so this is why I say you have to be appreciative and pay attention to who's really on your side, who's really rooting for you, who's really got your best interest at heart. And that woman really just, she don't know, she changed my life, right? And I'm gonna always be appreciative to her. I don't know, what family members or whatnot, but like when I do my big one for real, I got y'all. At least some kind of like giving back, right? Like, maybe, something. I don't know how the future is going to align for us, but I definitely would love to reconnect with her family or something, and just let them know how amazing their daughter was in my life, right? So, anyways, y'all, let me eat some calcium or something. Even bring my drink with me. Crazy thing was, I was just gonna hop on here and just do Q&As, and then I ended up like, thank you, oh, you're so sweet. And the crazy part was, I was telling my husband, I was like, I don't think any of these people online really know me. He's like, they don't. I was like, they know what I show, they know what I share, but y'all really haven't gotten a deep dive of like where I came from. I just popped up on the scene like, I want to be skinny. Let me document my journey. But hey, by the way, I also was a person that survived SA. I was a person who witnessed my mom going through domestic violence. I was a person who had to visit her father at a prison in New Jersey, and had to go through security checks as like a small child. And all those things really stuck with me, right? And yet you guys had no idea about it, right? And so the way the way life puts you through so much shit only to come back full circle is wild, right? And I remember I was in a prior to my husband, I was in a really toxic relationship, and the men who I dealt with did they only they kept limited me to what I looked like, and they limited me to what they thought I had. And I believed it for a while, that all I was a walking pair of tits and a cute face. And at the time, small little waist, big butt, big boobs. Like, this is me. This is who I am. Not knowing that there was so much more depth there. There was so much more that I had to offer, that my experiences and the things that I had overcome were part of my testimony, and things that I could potentially share down the line. So I say that to say this. Are you carrying the beliefs that you're carrying about yourself right now? Are they your own beliefs? Is that really truly how you feel about yourself? Or is that what people have told you you are? Is that what the relationships that you've had have told you you are? What's up, Sherry? Welcome in. I'm trying to keep up with both chats. Thank you, Suji. I appreciate that. Hi, Holly. Welcome in. So, so much to unpack. So much. I could come back and forth with this. Like, my story's long. I'll tell you guys this. If I give you guys the spark notes, you guys would be like, "What the fuck?" Like, I I was not supposed to be here, but I feel like that based off the things that happened to me, I could have not been here, but I'm here. Um. Oh, hey Beth. Sorry. Sorry, Beth. Um, thank you. Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you so much. Y'all, I'm telling y'all, like, sometimes we hide from our own we hide from our own selves. I feel like for so long I was so reluctant to share these parts of myself with you guys. A little bit was shame, a little bit was like I don't want to give people my most vulnerable moments, but like this is where you this is where you grow, right? When you take away the power of the shame that comes with certain stories, you empower yourself, right? You take away the shame and then you empower yourself. And that has been the theme. And that's what I feel like this is part of my healing, right? As I'm sharing with you guys who I am, what I've been through, the situations I've overcome, it allows for me to hear it, feel it, and know that I'm not there anymore. That is addressing your trauma, acknowledging that it's there, understanding you went through a situation, that I learned something from that situation and that I'm no longer there. And now I can be an asset to someone else because we are all walking different paths in life, but we all have that humanity piece, right? If I'm able to give something, I feel like a lesson, a story, even if that puts me in a negative light, and you can take something from it, then that is my purpose. That is that I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Um, but yeah, it's just so much stuff, and this is like the tip of the iceberg, right? I had a conversation with my dad not too long ago, and that was another moment where I was just like, wow, you're there's a lot of maturity happening here because for a while I did not have that relationship with my dad because I for a while resented him for being incarcerated for most of my adolescent and childhood life because I felt like, damn, I needed you. Maybe I wouldn't have experienced SA. Maybe I wouldn't have experienced some of the toxicity I experienced from the men I encountered. But I had to release that because when I spoke to him, I realized he also is carrying the burden of trauma and the projection of things that his parents put on him. My dad went through a lot of stuff himself. Someone has to be the cycle breaker, right? Someone has to make up their mind that like, look, I am no longer carrying this energy. I'm no longer carrying this hate in my heart. I'm not carrying any of that. So I forgave my father. I forgave my dad for not not being there. And for I understood that he also made decisions that he thought were best at the time, even though it impacted all the people in his life. It impacted my mom, it impacted me. No kid should have to visit their parents in jail. No kid should have to visit their father behind bars, right? And I understand that those are decisions he made, but like from my perspective, I was just like, I'm locked up with him too. Like, yes, I get to leave here, but like coming here is like devastating. Like, and I used to get so angry with my dad. I was like, why does he look happy? Like, he was putting on a happy face to see me, but I was upset that he was putting on a happy face while being incarcerated, because I was like, you like it? Like, you're enjoying not being in my life? And I didn't know that he was just like putting on face so that I wouldn't be scared in the space that I was in. So like all these little things, right? So I had to like really do a lot of uh like deep diving and just exploring my feelings, and it gets ugly and it's devastating and it's ugh, it's messy. Healing is messy. I don't know who said healing is pretty. I don't know who said healing is like a walk in the park. Like I don't it's not. So I want to just say this. If you are going through the healing process, first and foremost, congratulations. Second of all, that shit is messy. Healing Healing is like cleaning an infected wound. It stinks, it's disgusting, but you got to do it. You got to do it because then it's going to infect everywhere else. It's going to infect the other people that come into your life. It's going to infect your children. And so somebody has to do the wound care. So I'm over here doing wound care, and then I'm like, fuck, this is hard. This is stinky. This is icky. This is not fun. It hurts, right? But somebody's got to do the wound care. Someone's got to be the cycle breaker. Because I love my kids, I decided I'm gonna break this cycle. I sit with my oldest, and because she's the only one that can really articulate words. My two little ones, one is on the spectrum, on the autism spectrum, and my other child also has speech delays. And so we're not having conversations yet. But with my oldest, I have conversations with her, and I'm like, so I know that I'm probably going to mess you up at some point in life, right? Because I have to be very honest. Like, as much as parents think we're like perfect and you know, we have great relationships with our kids and blah, 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 we are also human. We are also probably going to make some mistakes. Hey, Danny, we're probably going to make some mistakes. We're probably going to say the wrong things. And that may not be your kids. It may be your siblings. It may be other relationships that you have. Like, you're never going to be 100% perfect, right? But I told her, I'm like, I know I'm probably gonna mess you up at some point, or maybe I'll say something at some point that may be hurtful, but I want to be able to talk about it. So I give her a lot of, I give her a lot of leeway for communication, respectful communication, of course. But we have conversations. My daughter and I, we have conversations because I know that that was a key piece in my past that I did not have with my mom. I didn't have that communication with my mother. I didn't have that communication just with any of the adults in my life. So I knew that it was important. And hey, Dawn, welcome in. Hey, the bariatric yacht. Um, so I think it's important to kind of set the tone. Your trauma is really data points, right? Like the things that you experience trauma wise, instead of like projecting your trauma, it's a matter of like analyzing my trauma and seeing how I'm able to create a space for the people who I come into contact with now that opens up communication so we could address things that could potentially be traumatic. So we could discuss things that could potentially be a misunderstanding. So I'm going to say this too. If you ever, I don't care who it is, if you ever feel some type of way about me and you care enough about the status of our friendship, our relationship, talk to me. I promise you, it is talk to me because we will make headway, and we will address it. And even if it's a situation we can't move past, we can communicate that and we can part ways respectfully and amicably, right? Just one random, just random disclaimer, because you never know. Like sometimes we say and we exist in life, and we're like, somebody straight up hates you because they think that you like are giving them the cold shoulder. Meanwhile, you going through your own stuff. Like that's how funny life is. Like sometimes we think people are like, oh, this person don't like me. Or this person got an attitude with me, and they're like not even thinking about you. They're going through their own shit. So, oh, that's so good, Dawn. I'm happy you're doing that. Um, yeah, I think it's beautiful that so many people are seeking out mental health help because Baby, we are all going through it, right? We are all going through it in different ways, right? And I'm never discounting anybody's situation. So don't take it that way. I just want to put that out there. But we're all going through some stuff. And I think we're all collectively knowing that we want to heal. It's just like, how do we heal? And one of the things that, from my opinion, is like we have to face the ugly. We have to face the ugly. And that's the part that sucks. That's the part that's like, oh, I really got to face it. Hey, Care Bear. Um, it only took 40 plus years. Listen, it don't matter, girl. You in there now. It look, because sometimes, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it took you 40 years, but the fact that you're opening up about it and you're talking about it, you're cutting somebody else's time in half. There's someone in the chat who's been on the fence about getting therapy, about getting the help, and now you share that you're getting help 40 years later, but now they're like, you know what? If this person is willing to get help at this point in their life, why not me? I feel like sometimes I'm stuck with my weight since both of my parents passed away last year. I'm so sorry, Linda, that your parents passed. And that's a hard thing to deal with, right? Because here's the thing, right? I've gained weight, right? Very transparently, I gained like 30 pounds, right? And I carried a lot of shame with that. But what I had to remember is like, mind and body, sometimes they exist in different spaces, right? Like, we want to do the right things for our body, but you also still have to find a way to balance body with life, right? Life still lives even if you're bariatric. Life still lives even if you're on a GLP-1. Life still lives if you're just on any kind of journey, right? Whether it's with your weight, entrepreneurship, school, like, it's a matter of like acknowledging, hey, right now I'm feeling like this. And I'm glad that you said that, Linda, because you understand that you are still grieving, right? It doesn't matter if a year passed, it doesn't matter if 2 years passed. Losing parents is not an easy thing. Like, you, for so many years, depended on them being there, whether it's like just to say hi, just to talk to, and for them to not be here, that's hard. That feels, there's a part of you that perishes with the people you love. But what I will say is that acknowledgement piece is the first step, right? How do you honor their memory in a way that doesn't become detrimental to you? Is the next question you ask yourself. What can I do? I can't change the situation. They're no longer with us, right? Hi, Tara. Welcome in. Hey, Jake. But now you're still here, right, Linda? You're still here. So how do we honor you, honor your parents, right? Maybe you're going on your walks and you're thinking of, well, kind of like what we were talking about, having a conversation with them, right? Like, I know that sounds like really out there, but really it's so therapeutic. You're going on your walk and you're just like, hey, mom, hey, dad, I really miss you. I really wish you were here. I know you're watching me and I know you're proud of me. And yes, I want to do better and I'm going to do better, but I miss you. And sometimes it's hard. When you say those things and you really acknowledge your feeling, that's when you're able to start working on that healing process. But if we just continue to like let those feelings linger and not call it what it is, that's when they start to kind of eat away at you and you don't know why. And then you start eating. I'm talking because this is me, right? Like, you'll start eating your feelings. You'll start trying to fill that void in different ways. You'll start drinking your feelings. If you're a person who relies on substances, you'll start using substances. But like, really calling it for what it is so important. It's so important. And really just talking yourself through it. And sometimes you need the assistance, right? Getting a therapist is great. I know it's not realistic for everybody. Hi, Stacy. But I promise you, just start having that conversation. When my grandmother passed away, my world came crashing down. She was my everything. She was like my mom. I love my mom, but my grandma raised me. And so sometimes I'll find myself and I'm just like doing random things like, me, I miss you. You would literally like, like, you would think this is crazy that I'm talking to you right now, but maybe not, because you're a person who believes in God and you believes in a higher power. So I think a part of me like would talk myself out, like talk myself through it and be like, no, it's fine. It's therapeutic for me too. So try that out. Try that out. Let me know if that's something that you're doing currently. Maybe if you're tapping into any services or anything like that, maybe I can help you out. Let me know. because I've navigated grief through my coaching as well. That's something that I help with too. It's complications with my RNY to actually start therapy, though I didn't want to accomplish this. I'm glad it happened. Otherwise, I may have still been doing life without therapy. You see, it's so crazy, right? Because sometimes we think, like, why is this happening to me? Why is this thing happening to me? I don't understand. The most devastating moments in my life, the most heartbreaking moments in my life, I'm like, why is this happening? And then I had to like pause and say, no, 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 no. Why is this happening? What am I missing here? What am I supposed to take out of this situation? While a complication may have led you to have therapy, it's also leading you to your healing. Isn't that crazy? Something that was supposed to complicate your life is leading you down the path to heal your life. It's wild. It happens all the time. It's a pattern. Every time your life is falling apart, you have to like literally bury your heels in and say, why? Why is this happening right now? And what am I supposed to take from this? There's got to be a lesson here. And there always is. I promise you, there always is. I don't make a lot of promises, but that's one I can make with certainty. I can make that one with certainty. So many times we experience the things we experience in life and we miss the lesson. So then we repeat the same mistakes over and over and over. Mistakes are data points. Mistakes is information. Failure, information. All that, all of those things that are supposed to be negative aren't really negative. They're data points. They're telling you something. When someone disappoints you, that's a lesson. How many people go through heartaches, heartbreaks, right? You're supposed to learn something out of that situation. What about this situation is creating this heartache for me? What signs were there that I may have ignored? What red flag did I make green? What did these some and I'll give you guys this example. I was in a very toxic relationship where I thought that the person who I was with, because he was like love bombing me, love bombing me. I love you. I need to talk to you every day. That became to the point where I wasn't even talking to my friends because he wanted to talk to me all the time. And eventually what happened was he put me in a space of isolating me. I was literally in a narcissistic relationship. And as I became isolated, the same friends who I wanted to talk to, now I was ashamed to talk to them because I'd already removed myself from them because I was so consumed in that relationship that he didn't give me breathing space to even nurture my friendships because he didn't want me to. And I didn't know that because I thought because he bought me gifts, because he told me he loved me, he would send me these like expressive essays of like declarations of love. And I was like, oh my God, this gotta be love. Like this has gotta be a soulmate. Like oh my God. Not knowing that the reason why I was leaning towards this narcissistic relationship that was so consuming was because there was a part of me that didn't love me. There was a part of me that didn't pour my love into myself enough to where I was seeking out this exaggerated version of love. I like to say the cosplay version of love. Uh, in other words, intensive love. That's the thing. Like, I labeled it. I was like, oh my God, he's like obsessed with me. Like, and that's what it felt like, right? And not knowing he's a person who also needs quite a bit of healing, right? He also needed quite a bit of help himself. So he had built this we both built an unhealthy attachment with each other. And that ended up with a whole restraining order. Okay. So I say that to say this, look, sometimes you got to assess, right? What red flags, what signs are we missing, right? Because a lot of times there's evidence of things about to hit the fan before we even know it, but we keep like green lighting it. We keep green flagging red flags. And I've seen it done with a lot of different things, right? Even on even in this journey, right? Because it's relatable to a lot of things. Sometimes, you see certain behaviors and you're like, this is the calm before the storm, right? What's up, Mel? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for jumping in, guys. The calm before the storm. You start seeing little signs of stuff about to go rogue. I saw the signs of me about to gain weight when I started going back out to eat, not really staying on top of my hydration, not really, keeping up with like tracking my what I was eating. Like I knew, right? In the back of my mind, I knew I'm like, this is not gonna end up good. So 30 pounds later, I'm like, fudge, like I knew this was gonna happen. I don't even know why I'm playing myself. But like I just kept green lighting things that I probably shouldn't have green lighted because I was filling a void. I was filling a void. I was emotionally eating. I was distracting myself from being, unemployed with food, right? Like when I lost my job, I turned to food. When I, was dealing with I'm a mom of a child with autism. When times get, challenging for those parents who have children who have special needs, you know how it is when you got a look. You don't even need to have a special needs child. If you are caring for anybody, for that matter, whether you are a caretaker to an elderly person, which I've done that for my grandma before she passed, or if you are caring for children, you are caring even for your pets. Okay, maybe you are a fur mama or a fur papa. Anytime you have to take care of anything outside of yourself, there are variables, right? You don't know what the hell you're going to get that day, right? Maybe your dog chooses violence that day. Maybe your kid chooses violence that day. Maybe your elderly parents are choosing violence that day, right? You don't know what you're getting. So, you have to find ways to cope with that. And how I would cope with that is like, let me just quickly shovel some food in my mouth and keep it pushing. Um, but I knew that that was happening. I saw the signs of me about to regain, but I did nothing. I just kind of like, well, whatever, I'll deal with it when I deal with it. And now I'm dealing with it. And it is taking a toll on my mental health. It is taking a toll on how I feel physically. So I'm working through that, right? And this journey, here's the other thing, right? While you have a pulse, right? While you have a pulse, air in your lungs, you woke up this morning. This is not the end of my story. I still woke up this morning. I'm so grateful for that. This is not the end of your story. No matter what it is that you're not happy with today, you woke up today. You can change the narrative. That's the cool piece. Like when you understand that you have more control to change the narrative of your life and the outcome of your life, that's when shit gets real fun, right? Because now you're the illustrator of your story. You can determine what you want to do with it. Stacy says, struggling with that now. I've gained 14 pounds. I need to reset my brain to not rely on food for comfort. 100%. And here's the thing, it's not easy, right? Food itself, right? And this is not an excuse, but they are made intentionally for us to consume more of it, right? Especially in this good old America, right? As much as America has great things about them, the food system itself is very flawed, right? We know that. We know that sugar is more addictive than cocaine. Okay. So we know these things, but it's like when you have that information, what are you going to do with it, right? Having information is great, but how you execute with that information is really the challenging part. That's why you have to define like, why is this important? So many times we hear people say, my why is, you have to have a why, right? Right now, my why is, I don't like how I'm breathing. Like 30 pounds heavier means I'm having a harder time catching my breath. I was doing a presentation yesterday and I was breezing through it. Like the information was solid, but I was like, yes, I was a little nervous doing my presentation for my fellowship, but I also knew that a lot of it came from my, the weight on my midsection just compressed up against my diaphragm. And I know that now because I've been smaller, right? I don't like that feeling. I don't like that feeling at all. So your girl's getting it back together. And I know I've said that a million times and I'm going to say it again because this journey is forever. This is not a overnight success thing. Some people do have, great results and stick with it, but there are people who we just we go back to some old habits. That just means we need a little more fine tuning. Just means we need a little more attention to our triggers. We need a little more attention to those red flags that we keep green lighting, right? So there should be no shame. There should just be a great time to analyze why. Why do I lean towards food because it's always more than just you being hungry. I promise you. It's always more than you just, being lazy. There's always more to it, right? People write bigger people off all the time as being lazy and, oh, this, that, and the granted, yes, we like ease because if you're big, you don't want to do stuff that's going to create huffing and puffing and whatever. But realistically, like, most people didn't get big because they just wanted to get big. A lot of people got big because they were coping with food. There's food addictions, there's medical conditions, there's a ton of reasons why you are who you are or you're in the situation that you're in, right? There's always, I can't think of the word right now, but there's always something that leads up to that. So, how many times you hear on these shows when people are sharing their stories on like my 600-pound life? This one lady I remember, she's like, I got big because I was SA'd and I did not want to be desirable. And I was like, wow, wow. And here people are probably shaming this lady about her weight, but she's doing it in her mind to protect herself. And that was her trauma response, right? So this is why I'm so fascinated by trauma because trauma is a guiding force for a lot of people, a lot of us, myself included. We are driven and guided by the things we've experienced, right? How we perceive those things, how we define those things. Trauma is a very tricky space to navigate, but it also can be leveraged, right? I'll give you an example that I gave with one of my other with a coaching client. I was like, so you're a people pleaser, right? And I'm probably gonna hop off soon because I actually have to do some work, and I thought I would be able to do it while on here, but you guys are so much fun, and I don't even feel like doing work. But we were talking about leveraging trauma, and also, you guys, I'm gonna put it out there. I didn't have slots available for coaching because I was trying to keep my coaching space small, but I will be opening up some slots in the next coming months. I will post about that probably at the end of July, I want to say, because I'm going to be taking a season break in August. So, introduce new coaching clients. So, if you are interested in any form of trauma informed coaching, please let me know. You can DM me, you can email me vsgbestie@gmail.com, and we can set up a discovery call. And realistically, you don't have to go through the coaching program with me, but what I will say is I can give you perspective and we can, draw out a plan, a strategy, and whatnot. You can do it on your own, or like I mentioned, I'm happy to work with you through these things, and just I think sometimes it's good to have an outside eye to look at what we may be overlooking. So if an outsider is looking in, they have a different perspective. So that's all I am, is I'm a different perspective, and I want to just encourage anyone who may be interested in trauma informed coaching to feel free to reach out. Again, I know other coaches too. I do believe that you should shop around for coaches, get a bunch of different discovery calls. You don't have to end up with me, but like just find someone to guide you. If it's a therapist, same thing. Do your due diligence with any provider that you go to, whether it's a therapist, your PCP. See what options there are. Don't just settle for the first thing you see. So, as much as I want all of you guys in my coaching program, I can't take everybody either, right? That is another piece. I can't help everyone. I've been turning people away. It's not about the money for me. It's about, can I actually help you? If I can help you, great. If I can't help you, then I unfortunately won't be able to take you on as a coaching client. And that's just a reality because I don't want anyone to ever be like, well, she took my money and she didn't help me. I'm not going to take you on as a client if I feel like that is beyond the scope of what I can do for you. And that's okay, right? Because there are other professionals in place for that. So, but anyways, the story about people pleasing, I told my client, I said, so you're a people pleaser. What if I told you you can continue to be a people pleaser? And she's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, imagine if you took the time to work on yourself so that you can be better for the people you love. And that, while simple in nature, was like, she just looked at me. She's like, I was like, yeah, you get to people please all you want. But because you are working on you, I'm okay with that, right? You have to prioritize you. That doesn't mean that you can't do things for other people, but if you're pouring from an empty cup, then you ain't got nothing to offer. You got to keep filling your cup. As long as you're filling your cup first, I'm okay with you sprinkling the love after, right? And that was so empowering for my client because I think sometimes we attach so much shame to some of these words, like people pleasing. Oh, that's horrible. No, it's only horrible if you're doing it ahead of your own, needs, right? It's only horrible if you're not handling your own care or if you are compromising yourself or your well-being for the sake of doing something for somebody else. But if you're prioritizing your healing, your health, your peace of mind, your emotional well-being, then I'm okay with that because either way, like this journey with weight loss. We did it for ourselves, but the people in proximity to us are still benefiting from it. Hey, Misty, what's up, Miss Mary? So that is how you hack the system, right? We can't change everything, right? That's just not the reality, right? Regardless of what the situation is, you can always hack the system. If people pleasing is your pain point, cool. Keep people pleasing. But before you please other people, let's please ourselves. No, that sounds weird, but you know what I mean. Uh, Take care of you first, right? You can't put the mask on other people before you put the mask on yourself. They even say it on the plane, right? And that is a fact. It's those silly little things that we overlook. Like, why would they want me to put the oxygen mask? Yeah, because if you're going to go put the oxygen mask on somebody else, you're probably going to pass the hell out before you even get the mask on yourself. So you're more helpful if you put the mask on yourself. So that way you can help more people around you. You see what I'm saying? Now you can be a people pleaser without shame. That's fine. I love what I do. I freaking love it. Um, I think this has always been in the cards for me. I just didn't know. I didn't know until I found myself with nothing else but this to do. Like getting fired from my job was the best thing that ever happened to me. Was it a good feeling in the moment? Hell no. I was like, what? But I had already built something. I was already building on the side, not knowing. Yes, okay, look. And here's the thing, right? Because I recovering people pleasing is a newer term for me, right? Like I've been seeing a lot of people saying I'm a recovering people pleaser. Knowing that when you are putting yourself first, it's very hard to people please, right? And this is why I said it's a funny way to hack the system because when you're taking care of yourself naturally, you're going to have certain boundaries. Naturally, you're going to say no to certain things. And then the things, whatever you're capable of doing, if it's still within your spirit, you kind of get that fix. It's like that little hit of people pleasing, right? But not at your detriment. Not at your detriment. We don't do that no more, right? So always you first. Put the mask on first and then you can be of assistance to anybody and everybody else if you choose to, if you have it within you to give. Anytime something takes you outside of um, your boundaries, we're not doing that no more. So when you say no or put yourself first, you need to overcome the feeling of shame. 100%. I know I'm completely fine with saying no, and it's okay to say no without an explanation. But I used to have, like, when I was graduating into setting boundaries, I used to feel the need to explain my no's. Like, I'm only saying no because blah, blah, blah. That's still, it wasn't necessary. It's just no. It's a no for me, dog. Why? Just not trying to do it. Just not trying to do it. Be honest. Be honest. I used to tell people all the time, like when they would want to meet up with me in Texas, I was like, oh, my kid. And granted, yes, my childcare is very difficult for me, but I used to tell people, oh, my kids and my kid's sick and blah 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 blah. Remember one time somebody was like, hey, I'm in Houston and I would love to hang out with you. And I was like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even people like that. And it was still like around COVID time. And so I was like, I don't really people like that. And I really don't like this whole like exchange of mucus and bacterium. So I was gonna like completely make up a whole lie and be like, oh, my kids. I was like, no, fuck that. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I don't want to people. I don't want to people. Cause I just don't. And she took it completely fine. And that was so validating to me because I was like, the people who really rock with you Respect it. And she's like, oh no, girl, I get it. I get it. And I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. I was like, in my head, I was like, damn, like, and then I was like, why am I saying sorry? Like, that's just my boundary. I don't want to do that. So understand that you graduate and it gets better. Now I just straight up be like, no, I ain't going. Why you not? I'm just not going. I got my reasons. That's it. So it's okay to know without an answer. Girl, that right there. Yes. Know without an explanation is when you know you've reached like elite level of like recovering from people pleasing. There's degrees. Like you go from the stage of like people pleasing, doing any and everything for people to like saying, I can't. And you might make up a little excuse here and there. And then you get to the point where you're like, I don't want to make up an excuse no more. And you might still explain a little bit. And then you get to the point where you like don't care to explain. Like it's almost like I don't have to. That's when you've reached a new level. So graduating from people pleasing, graduating from other stages and development, it takes time. It takes practice, right? You have to keep saying no. I dare you to say no to someone today. If you are a people pleaser in my chat, say no to somebody. First, really, it has to be something you don't want to do, right? Like, 'cause it has to be honest, real, not just say no just to say no. If you really have the ability to do it, right? And even if you have the ability to do it and you really don't want to do it, just say no, right? I want you to say no to someone this week, right? See if they really get mad, right? Because most people, I think we overthink it when, especially recovering people pleasers, we overthink, oh, they're not gonna like me, oh, they're gonna be upset. I don't want to upset this person. I don't. We're making assumptions of for someone. You don't even know how that person's gonna react, and most people are never gonna react in the way we think they're gonna react. And if they do, then that says more about that relationship, and that's a data point right there. If anybody gets upset with you setting boundaries for yourself, I need you to side eye that person immediately. Like, oh, you don't like that I have boundaries. Suspicious. Uh, so yeah, it's very telling. It's very telling. Um, so yeah, I talked about a lot of stuff, y'all. Well, I shared some of my background. We talked about just about a lot of different things, and I'm happy this conversation happened because I feel so much lighter. I came into the house and I was just like, I'm gonna have a good day today. I'm gonna have a good day today. Yes, I'm a little tired, and I don't do my makeup during the week, but I'm like, I'm gonna do my skincare as soon as I'm done with all the things that I'm doing because I had been neglecting my skincare. Um, I did wash my ass, so that's a win, right? Because when you depresso espresso, sometimes you skip those. I'll be honest, I don't care if anybody thinks I'm nasty, but I've been that person where I was look funky, and so not today, baby. But yeah, so that realistically, like I'm a work in progress. I'm a hot mess express, but um, I have a good plan. Now, if that not everything goes according to plan. I also have good intentions and I have a lot of good people in my life. And I'm very grateful and appreciative for that because, well, I told y'all earlier, I had a little sketchy Miss Sketch group back in the day. And we're graduating from that. And your discernment will get sharper. So no matter what you're going through right now, whether it's your friendships, relationships, your family relationships, as you continue to develop who you are and define who you are and set those boundaries for yourself and understand who you are more in depth outside of people's opinions of you, you'll realize that yes, you may shed some people, but the right people will remain or the right people will introduce themselves to you. And that's where I'm finding myself. My circle isn't huge. I don't have a ton of friends anymore. That's not who I am. And I'm okay with that, right? But I do think I have quality in the friendships that I have. I do feel like I have really, really solid people supporting me. My supporters, oh my God. Like this community, y'all don't even know. Y'all support me more than some of the people I've known for years. That's wild, right? I've known people my entire 37 years of my life. I have my best friend, she's very supportive. My mother's very supportive, but like I know there are people in my life that I'm like, damn, like you don't even show up for anything that I do, but you know exactly what I'm doing. Oh, that's so weird. Thank you. Oh, that was so sweet. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That was cool. I like how the chat just like opened up the conversation. Thank you. That was cool. Thank you, whoever just sent that message. You just showed me something new. I'm learning this system that I'm using right now. But I just want to say that, it's gonna get better as long as you want to get better. You're gonna figure out that you're probably never going to figure out all the moving pieces in life, but figuring you out is going to be a beautiful project. Figuring out what speaks to you is such a beautiful, worthwhile project because then it aligns everything else. You set the tone for your environment. You are an environment, right? You set up your environment to be all that it can be, all that it should be. And also check your traumas, right? Do not trauma is, like I told you guys, a guiding force. If you're not checking your trauma, if you're not addressing your traumas, a lot of times it may guide you down paths that are not for you, that are solely guided by your trauma. I told you guys about my narcissistic relationships. I told you guys about, having a father who was incarcerated. All those things could have guided me in the direction of people who kind of had those traits, right? That's why sometimes people end up dealing with the same types of people because they've never fully resolved those traumas. So I want to encourage you to explore the ugly, right? We're doing wound care. I said it before, I'm going to say it again. Healing your trauma is literally wound care. It is stinky, it's smelly, it's not pretty, but it's necessary. You got to heal the wound because you're going to infect other people around you. And you're better. You're better than your trauma. You're better than anything that anyone has ever said negative about you, and you're worth it. And I'm happy and I'm rooting for all of us. And I can't wait to see all that we're able to do and all that we're able to acknowledge about ourselves. I am gonna probably hop down. Let me see. What time is it? I got like 10 more minutes. I got 10 more minutes before I got to hop down. So I just wanted to say that. I want to say thank you to everybody who came in and out. And we're so vulnerable. Like, you guys made me feel like I cried just a few minutes ago. Um, you guys made this so much easier for me to share transparently. I was so worried that I did not come with this intention at all, actually. I came on here thinking I was going to do a Q&A, and then I'm like crying, pour my heart out. And I'm like, I'm like, uh, I'm not hiding behind my past. I'm not doing that because I'm not who I used to be, and I love who I'm becoming. But part of that is knowing that where I came from and allowing people to see where I came from, and that I'm not just some overnight success when I pop up on the scenes and people see me in publications, and I'm on different podcasts or radio and stuff like that. I'm like, yo, I don't even know how I got here. Like I was like, I don't know who thought this was like a good idea to put me in front of a mic. No, but I'm very blessed. Like, prime example, and I know I said I got 10 minutes, right? The job that fired me was the first place that introduced me to getting on mass media. Like, that was the first time I've ever been on a radio station. And I was like, whoa, like they had a setup with like not like this. I'm in my spare room, but like they had the mics like kind of like this, the headphones, and I was just like, man, this is cool. Like I'm on a real radio station. I was on ESPN. Um Oh, thank you. Oh man, thank you so much, Care Bears. I didn't realize this is one of those things like sometimes God puts you in the right place at the right time with the right people who receive you and allow you to just really, really, really just be vulnerable. And I'm so grateful for you guys. Like honestly, like I genuinely was not intending to be so like vulnerable in this moment, but I think it was necessary because I feel like every one of our stories are important, and we all have a story to tell. We all have a testimony to share. And we, at some point, won't be on this God's green earth anymore. But if there's anything we can leave behind, is our story. Our stories are our legacy. Our stories are our testimonies. We went through the test not just to go through the test. We went through the test so we can share our testimonies with others because We empower other people to be vulnerable. We empower other people to explore, the things and spaces in their mind and heart that they maybe didn't want to visit because they thought, well, if I visit this space, can I see my way out? And I'm here to tell you, yes, you can. 100%. What's up, Barry? I think that this happened. This was all God's plan. This was not my plan. God was like, you're gonna tell this story today. You keep saying you're gonna tell a story. You say you're gonna do these pretty curated videos, and look, no curated video, just alive, and just honest feelings and stuttering and tears. And thank you, chat. Thank you, everyone who's kind of popped in and out, or jumped in here to just hear my story. I feel like your story should be heard too. I'm not pressuring anybody to share their story, but at some point, someone needs to hear your story. At some point, someone needs to be empowered by you. And I do think that we can learn from each other. And I do think that there's power in proximity to people who also have gone through some stuff, right? We all have gone through some stuff. And the fact that you're on the other side of it, your story deserves to be heard. So that has been that has been so helpful to be able to share that and to be able to hear some of your stories. This is one of the other reasons why I said this already, but I love what I do between the coaching, doing the podcast with Talk Buried and me. Like, I got tired of telling my story. Honestly, I'll be honest. Complete transparency here. I was like, who the hell wants to keep hearing that? Oh, I had the lap band back in 2011, and then now I have the VSG, and now, like, and that's not to discount my story, right? Because I will still tell my story to anybody who wants to hear it. And my goal is to be on a bunch of stages just sharing my story. My goal is to be a motivational speaker, right? And transformational speaker, right? But I said there are so many other great stories out here with people who maybe they don't have 1,000 followers, maybe they don't have a bunch of engagement on their page, but their stories need to be heard, their stories need to be shared. And that was one of the inspirations behind bringing guests onto this show, bringing guests to share their stories. I talk about the bariatric piece a little bit when I do Talk Buried in Me, which, by the way, for those who don't know, is live every Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific time. And then I'm like, sorry, just had to share the time. But then I'm like, always learning because I'm sitting there and I'm interviewing people and I'm like, wow, like you're so strong. Like I don't always say it. Sometimes I say it on live, but sometimes I'm thinking to myself, like, if you only knew how freaking strong you are. I mean, I've had people on there who've survived abusive relationships. I've had people on there who've survived cancer. I've had people on there who've survived SA. I've had people on the show who have literally faced death and looked death in the eye and somehow saw their way out of that. That is what the show for me is about. It's about those stories. It's about those stories that go beyond what your macros are. The stories that go beyond what workout routine you do. Those things are superficial. I want to know, what mind frame were you in when you said, F cancer, I'm going to fight this thing? I want to know what mindset you were in when you said, I'm leaving that abusive relationship. I want to know what mindset you were in when you said, heck no, I'm setting hard boundaries today. That's what I'm curious about. When I invite my guests, it goes beyond your bariatric story. For me, it's about that piece, the unspoken piece, the piece that no one saw when you were crying behind the scenes, the piece that no one saw when you had to struggle through going back and forth in a situation behind the scenes that no one saw, the things outside of the pretty before and after pictures. Those are the things that I'm always trying to dig into. Mental health too. The wrong mindset is crippling. It's every day. Yes, 100%. And that is one of the pieces that I want to continue to highlight, whether it's through the show, excuse me, whether it's through the show, whether it's through the coaching, whether it was these just random conversations, right? Like I want to explore why do we think like this? What made us, because our minds are like software. Like if you think about it, it's like a computer. We program it to think in a certain way. And before we programmed it, we had outside factors programming the way we think, right? How many parents told their kids they were not enough or made them feel like they weren't enough. And now those kids still feel like that in adulthood. So like we have to almost like upload a new software into our minds, and that's hard, right? Because you're undoing however many years of whatever programming is in your mind to now have to figure out this new programming. There's a learning curve, right? And sometimes what happens when things get difficult and you're trying to break this cycle and you're trying to develop this new mindset, it's easy to give up because it's hard, because it's difficult, because you got to face the ugly. And this is why I said what I said before. I was like, there's no getting around the ugly. There's never pretty. Healing is not pretty. Healing sounds pretty, and the outcome of it is great, but it's not pretty in the process. It's ugly. It's stinky. It's funky. I call it wound care. Literally, think about a cut, or think about a deep pain, a deep wound on your body. That healing, you're pouring alcohol on it to make sure it doesn't get infected. It hurts. When you're digging into your trauma, that shit hurts. When you're digging into your healing process, that stuff is not easy. Sometimes you pull up parts about yourself that you hate. Sometimes you pull up things about, family members that make you look at them a little sideways, like you really made me feel like that about myself. And then you have to go back to you because you can't control what other people say about you. But how did you receive it? Right? So it's so much. It's fascinating, it's hard, but it's necessary. We just got to be willing to step into it. We got to be willing to look at the ugly. We got to be willing to unpack the ugly. We got to be willing to do the wound care, nurture it, heal that inner child. That's not just like a fancy phrase. Like that's legit. Like a lot of us are walking around with an inner child that's wounded, an inner child that didn't get the hug, that didn't get the apology. And now we got to figure out how to reconcile that. So yeah, it's a lot, but it's necessary and you're worth it. You're worth it, friend. You are 100% worth it. And this is why if you can get a therapist to work through it with you, great. If you can get a life coach to work through it with you, great. I personally, and not because I'm a coach, I do think coaches are a little different as far as they're not going to come to you as a clinical from the clinical standpoint. There are some things that overlap with therapists, but there's strategy involved. Not every therapy session comes with a strategy. Sometimes it's just a venting session. I like the coaching piece because I like things that are proactive. Even when I read books, right? I don't read books for like storytelling. Like sometimes, but like I primarily like books that have strategies. I like books with step by steps, things that I can proactively do, which is why I love coaching because I like to be proactive and solution based, right? But anyways, enough about that. I want to just say thank you. Remind you guys, I'm live technically every Mondays for Talk Barry to Me's coaching corner. That will be I'm gonna do it like this, where it streams on multiple platforms, and that way we can talk about this stuff. I will have to find a way to invite people onto here because it's not like I can invite you on panel the way I normally would on TikTok or on Instagram. So I think what I'm gonna do is I might create a link for you guys to join if you want, and just send it directly to whoever wants to join. So if you ever want to join any of these conversations, feel free to DM me on whichever platform you're watching me from, and we can have a conversation. If there's a topic you want to talk about, let me know. We'll make the conversation happen, and we can unpack it together. If there's something you want me to like kind of dive into that I haven't already, send me the message and I will be happy to do that and we can unpack it together. If you want to unpack privately and you want to book a discovery call, you can click the link in bio or just hit me up in the DMs and I'll send you that information with the intakes for coaching. I don't have any coaching slots till after July. So it'll just be like a preliminary discovery call. And if it's a good fit on both ends, then we can plan for August. So I appreciate you guys and I can't wait to connect with you all again. This has been fun. Replays will be available on YouTube. So make sure you follow and subscribe on YouTube. The lives actually save on there. So if you really, really enjoyed this conversation and you caught some gems, check me out on YouTube. The links are always in the bio. I appreciate you guys and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.